Good evening, everyone. Everyone here, everyone have a seat if you would like to come in. Outside, we have standing room only this evening, the meeting of November 29th, and welcome everyone on behalf of the Board of Selectmen to our meeting. And would like to say a belated Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope you had fun with family, friends, wherever you were traveling. I can tell you that we had an exceptionally quiet Thanksgiving, Chief, in the town of Dover. We did, which is always a good thing. So thank you to everyone. This evening, the first item on our agenda is to have an appointment of an officer, someone who I get to see in the early mornings, and Chief McGowan is here. So Chief, would you do the honors?
Yes, please. Thank you for accommodating me on your agenda tonight. So tonight I'd like to ask the board to accept my recommendation to hire Officer Don Cahill as our next full-time police officer. Officer Cahill was hired in January of 2017 as a part-time special police officer, and he's fit in seamlessly into our family across the street there. And due to the retirement of Officer Von Handorf, who will be leaving us next month, I thought it best to get Officer Cahill in the queue and start the process of finding a police academy for him and get the ball rolling. It's kind of unusual that he's here tonight on his full-time appointment, but he wasn't here when we appointed him as a special police officer 2 years ago, so I thought it would be a nice opportunity for the board to say hello and start the process.
Well, thank you. Very, very, very well done. And Officer Cahill, thank you for coming this evening. Would you like to take this opportunity to introduce the people with you this evening? You can be very, very informal. You don't have to be formal, but...
This is my girlfriend, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle.
This is my father, Donald Sr.
How are you, sir?
And my mother, Jean.
Hello. Well, it's nice to meet you, and congratulations. And thank you all for being here. So I would accept a motion to approve Officer Cahill.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
So you don't have to let him in anymore?
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's no longer necessary. In fact, please lock him out.
I am locked out. I have to pause to get in.
15 extra minutes, you know?
Yeah. So thank you, and congratulations, and your fellow officers, I'm sure, are going to greet you as you walk out the door.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you in advance for your service.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Officially. Congratulations.
Thank you, and well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well done.
Congratulations.
Thank you for coming.
You're going to have to talk.
I warned them.
Thank you.
So I understand the board had a question about traffic that they wanted to direct to Chief
Yes.
McGowan?
Chief, we had a constituent who had voiced a concern about traffic. We have had a chance to address the issue, and I had asked the chief if he would be kind enough to, while he was here, give us just a brief overview of the noticeable increase in traffic. I know it's something that's on your radar, no pun intended, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking about that radar, and no, it just slipped out. So
If I may,
Please.
just add. Since the May election, the question I probably get asked the most is about traffic, and the volume of traffic in town. And are there things that we can do to mitigate the volume of traffic? And I've talked with Dave and I've talked with you about that. And I think many people, I hope most people know that we've done work on this and continue to do work. But it's still, I mean, I've had people talk to me about the timing of the lights and whether or not there were ways to adjust the timing of the lights. Mm-hmm. For example, in the afternoon, traffic from Needham to Medfield gets backed up a long way. And is there a way to allow that traffic flow to have a green light for longer periods of time than it does now? Because there seems to be less traffic going from Springdale to Walpole and Walpole to Springdale. So people are asking me questions with very specific sort of suggestions and recommendations about, you know, what the town might do. And so I know you guys have done a lot of work.
Right.
And I'd just like you to have the opportunity to, again, express to the town, because I know it's been done in the past, the work that has gone on and the work that you guys hopefully continue to do to try to mitigate the situation. And ultimately, I would like to know what other communities are doing in our 3 or 4 town neighborhood here. Okay, sorry.
All right, so we get 2 type of traffic comments at the station. You're either speeding or you're not going fast enough. Those are... Speeding's easy. We pass out a few tickets, people learn their lesson, and things tend to calm down. With the traffic volume that we have, with technology, with Waze, with all of the Google Maps and everything else, people are using roads that they didn't even know existed 5-10 years ago. So the volume of cars that we have coming through town is extraordinary. It's cyclical. It's we can't quantify a time. We can't say that from 7 to 7:10 in the morning every day there's a problem, because it comes in waves. But to address your question about the traffic lights, we've worked with Vanessa and Associates several times with the town. He's a traffic planner, traffic engineer, and we've looked at the lights a couple of times in the last 3 or 4 years for residents' inquiries and general inquiries, and they're maxed out. They're at their capacity. The timing is at the full extent, so they are maximized to allow as many cars as they possibly can to go through the cycle at a time. We've also got the traffic pads in the pavement, so if nobody is sitting on Springdale or nobody's sitting on Walpole, the light is set up to stay green on Center Street all night. So if you happen to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning, that green light stays green for an hour and a half until the car comes through. But when there's traffic in both directions, it's set up to do that. So is there a new generation traffic system? I have no idea, but the equipment that we have now is maxed out, and we're working it as best we can. We've even tried manually overriding it and putting an officer in the intersection, and that just, that follows it up even worse than the lights. So, we're just, if someone has a particular concern, my suggestion to several people have been vary your schedule a little bit. Try 5 minutes earlier or 10 minutes later and just see if that little bit can help you get around the particular clog in town. We can tell, if there's a crash on 128 in the afternoon, we can tell by 4 o'clock because we're already seeing traffic backing up at Haven Street. And the volume of traffic is causing issues at Haven Street because people can't see when they're coming across, and we're getting fender benders at that intersection. So there's a ripple effect. But it's, other than a tunnel, I don't think there's any easy resolution to the problem.
And I would imagine neighboring towns have similar issues.
I was talking to a resident recently that told me it took 10 minutes to go 150 yards in Needham Center between the 3 traffic lights and then the train coming through. It was a 10-minute ordeal to go 150 yards. So everybody has the problem. Medfield Center, again, thank goodness we don't have a train going through the center of town, 3 or 4 times a day like Sherburne shuts down. Yeah. I'm in early in the morning to avoid the train coming over. It's just, it's purely volume.
Is there any initiative by the department, like a regional initiative to do anything with the traffic?
With MAPC or any of those regional conglomerates, the state agencies, there's nothing on the horizon. There's nothing that can be brought to the attention. As I said, if there's a newer, higher tech traffic light system, I'm not aware of it.
So it's persevere.
Yeah, just soldier on and stiff upper lip, and maybe they could try Waze and go another way. I don't know.
The roadways are limited.
I know.
There's only
and the problem is if we solve the problem in the center of town, then Worcester Street will be a disaster, or Main Street, or Springdale, or something else. There's only so many road miles for so many cars. And if you look at every driveway, every house has 2 cars now, 3 cars. And 10 years ago, a family would have 1 car and make do. Now every kid has to have a car.
Yeah. Camille?
I've written to you and Mr. Hughes about the traffic on Main Street in Springdale. I walk in the morning, and the traffic coming down, from Bond Street is horrendous.
It's impossible almost to cross the street because they go across line, and you know that, and then go on to Springdale. And Mr. Hughes thought we might be able to put a crosswalk somewhere. There is a stop sign on Springdale turning into Maine, but not everybody uses the stop. If they see there's an advantage and no one's coming down straight onto Maine and making a turn onto Springdale, as many come down and make the turn as many come on Main Street itself, especially the people who do landscaping. Those trucks carrying the back part of it, it's really very dangerous. I'm out there at 6:15, 6:30.
With your green vest.
And yeah, with the vest, yes, and my hat with the light, when it's very dark. So I know it, and I've almost been knocked over. That's what caused me to write to you and to Mr. Hughes, because it is so dangerous there. The cars just keep coming, and the trucks keep coming. It's really a problem. So I don't know how you can solve one in the center of town, but if you're thinking about it, think of Main Street and Springdale and Park.
You know, it's interesting, Camille, and I'm sure the chief has thought about this, is, you know, Mrs. Donahue, who lives across the street from you, she runs about 15, 20 minutes before you in the morning. The woman, and I just drew a blank on her name, who lives next to you, who walks after you.
Sometimes she's earlier than I am.
Yep.
It depends.
If you move the traffic off of Springdale, they'll go to Haven. And the Haven intersection has been studied so many times, you actually, at the corner, moved part of the intersection and eliminated one of the cut-throughs because the trucks were coming so fast from Main Street onto Haven. So it's just, it must be just like moving pieces around the board where you can never take a piece off, you just have to.
It's whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole,
As
yeah,
a
whack-a-mole.
dress assistant, I'm sure you guys have seen our extra visibility. We've had more activity, our numbers are up, and we'll solve a problem in one area, and it just pushes it 2 streets over.
I do like the stop sign. I will say that watching the kids cross from Haven across Central to going to the school, the kids on the bikes from Haven Terrace, from Church Street, it is just a whole lot more visible. Traffic definitely slows down.
You know, I think part of the problem is it's not a walking town.
Right.
You can't, you know, so I think, I used to do that walk in the morning, and I won't do it anymore. I mean, I walk, but I go over to Elmeg or someplace like that. And I think that's a problem, but it's a problem that's waiting to be an accident, unfortunately, a serious accident.
You know what would be a great
Very
solution?
serious.
If we got a rail trail. Okay, that was just an attempt at humor, but
I'm all for it.
So
that was a attempt at humor, and I apologize for it.
You do it on a regular basis, you do every couple of years?
Every couple of years, yeah, and we try and focus on a different area. If we've studied the center 2 times, the 3rd time isn't going to give us any more data other than telling us there's even more cars coming through than the last time we looked at it.
Okay.
So, and then when we had a crash 3 months ago, we had to replace the light, so the company comes out, when they replace the light, they also look at the system to make sure everything's in running order, so.
So
as of
I
3
do
months
have a
ago.
story.
Okay.
Coincidentally, somebody sent me a video, a YouTube video of the New York City traffic pattern in 1945. So it was, and I've been to New York very recently, and the contrast between 1945 and 2018 was remarkable. So maybe we need to take a step backward in terms of traffic and put out posters of Dover in 1945.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Yeah. Will you just note that the accident he's referring to at the center, at the lights, involved a state police car, right? A state trooper was hit in the intersection, driving his car. That is the definition of a bad day for a motorist, to be involved in a car accident at an intersection with a state trooper. So thank you. We appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I appreciate your help on the appointment. Thank you.
Thank you,
See
sir.
you in the morning.
Next item, Mr. Ramsey, the tax classification.
Hearing. The assessors are here.
Assessors are
Turn it
here.
over to Mrs. McTavish.
So essentially, it's up to the selectmen to choose whether we have an open space discount, a residential exemption, a small commercial exemption, or shift the tax burden to commercial. First of all, we have no open space in Dover. Nothing's classified as open space. The residential exemption basically is the excess responsibility is put on the vacant land, and we've always wanted to maintain our vacant land. We don't really have many parcels that qualify for the small commercial exemption. And as far as shifting the tax burden, our commercial is less than 3% of our total valuation, and it just doesn't make sense to do anything besides a single rate, because the commercial properties are hit much harder, 50% more than they would have been under the regular rate. So basically, we're recommending no discounts, no exemptions, and a tax a rate of 1.
Sounds familiar, Ms. McTavish.
Yes, same as last year, and the year before and before and before. When you vote this, we need, you can either authorize Dave to submit this with a signed form, so you would have to sign the hard copy, and we can upload that to the Department of Revenue, and Dave can sign online. I don't know when you're meeting next.
Next Thursday, the 6th.
Thursday the 6th.
Thursday the 6th. Okay. Well, because we have our values have been certified, but our growth has not been approved yet. So we have to, apparently, we've never done this before, we have to leave the hearing open and continue it for a vote once the growth is approved. Now, I hope to get the growth approved by Monday at the latest. My board is meeting on Wednesday to go over the final numbers for the recap, the forms we have to submit to set the rate. So if you don't meet until the 6th, I guess it's only one day. Is that agreeable to you? We won't have any tax rate approval until after that.
Sure.
But that would
Is
still
there
give
any-
us plenty of time to get the bills out. Jerry will be back on Tuesday. And things are just about, I still need some things from Carol.
Yeah, that'll work.
That'll work.
Good thing you're having a meeting next Thursday.
Well, you can thank me.
Anyway, you can vote.
My social calendar got in the way.
Yeah.
You can tentatively vote tonight, just for,
What I would like to do, Karen, is there anyone else, is there any member of the board who would like to add anything else to that? Is there?
excellent. We have Mr. Long, Mr. Chairman, Doug Monsell, and Bob Cox are my board members.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Would you like to add anything to that?
So I have one question.
Sure.
So you say there are no exemptions, so how does the 61A exemptions?
That's not an exemption, that's a classification.
Okay,
There are personal exemptions, but there are no exemptions for a residential exemption where the average assessed value of all residential properties is applied to to reduce the residential, the impact of the residential rate, essentially. Or there's a small commercial exemption where if you have less than, I'll have to read this because we never do it. You have to have an assessed value of less than $1 million and be occupied by a business which has been certified by the Department of Employment and Training as having no more than an average of 10 employees in the previous year. Now, a good many of those certifications by the Department of Employment and Training are old and stale, and people have moved. A lot of them are not only home businesses, but they're people that come in to do work, like field hands or yard workers or maids, that sort of thing. So they're really, and the properties aren't even assessed commercially.
Right.
So that's why we don't do that exemption.
What I would like to do is to entertain a motion, to accept your recommendation of the single tax rate and the rate of 1, and approve that motion this evening.
Factor of 1 it is.
I'm sorry?
It's called a
Factor of 1, thank you. Factor of 1. And again, I apologize for those at home. Karen McTavish, our tax assessor, is here with her board, and in front of us is to accept your recommendation for the factor of 1. I would accept that motion, approve it this evening, leave it open, and we could formally sign it at our meeting next week.
So continue the hearing to the 6th.
To continue the hearing to the 6th, thank you. So, if anybody has anything they'd like to comment or add, if there is none, then
Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
Do you feel more comfortable signing on Gateway yourselves? Do you do that? Or, I know some of the board members don't, so, not necessarily your board, but some of the
Mhm.
boards. Or do you authorize Dave and then sign the form? Because if
we
you authorize Dave.
authorize Dave
So you
in
should
the
probably-
past.
As long as DOR will let us. Remember, sometimes they do and sometimes
As
they
long,
don't.
I asked them that today, as long as you submit a hard copy with the signed signatures of the board. Yes, they said they would do it.
Last year.
So I thought that should be included in the motion as well.
Thank you. Mona,
Yes.
does that make sense to you?
Makes sense to
Are you
me.
good with all of that? Would
What
you
is
like to
John's
repeat
motion?
it?
That's what he wants to say.
You got it.
Don't worry.
John's motion. So, I would accept that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very
Karen,
much.
thank you, and to your board, thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated. I know that there is a lot of hours spent in that. And Karen, we will see you soon with free cash.
They don't want us to get out.
We charge for exit.
It's an intelligence check.
Talking to
Yes.
me?
This is like a confidence here.
They won't mind that.
Notice the police were the last ones.
Yeah.
to lock us in. Thank you very much. The next item of business is to set the opening and closing dates for the town meeting warrant, which the open is tomorrow.
Actually, it's today.
Actually, it's today.
As of now.
Oh, as of right now. So, and the closing of the 18th?
January 19th
January
at
19th.
1 o'clock.
Would accept a motion to approve the opening of today and the closing of the warrant on January 19th at 1 o'clock.
Is there a time when it opens or no?
Now,
Now,
Oh,
After
right
we
now,
do it.
7 p.m.? Okay,
when you vote.
okay.
So,
second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The next item is the review of the selectmen's operating budgets. We've had the operating budgets and we've had the opportunity to review them. We spent most of our last meeting in the discussion with regards to any budget item that was different or we felt needed time spent on it. What I would like to do Mona and Dave, for the sake of the folks watching at home, is simply read through the operating budget numbers and would accept a motion as for the total.
So just to recap, so there were certain items that we did not have firm numbers on in the budgets we looked at. Like we did not get a budget from COA, right?
COA is still missing.
Okay,
You'll see that at your next meeting.
and the region, we need to wait for them as well. And healthcare wasn't finalized, it was at best placeholder.
It's a preliminary number.
Right, and Norfolk Retirement, was that a placeholder or the actual number? I can't remember.
I don't know. It's not an actual, they haven't voted it yet. I'm not sure
Okay.
we can put a number in.
Right, that's what I'm
So
thinking
that
of.
budget's missing as well.
So, with regard to what we have, the numbers we're about to read are reflective of the amounts that we have and we've reviewed and that are in the ledger.
Right, so we held a meeting on the Wednesday, and Mr. Ramsey,
The 20th.
Mr. Ramsey went through each of the line items in the budgets, and we had some questions which were addressed then, and we discussed the budgets that we had not yet received, and we're trying to figure out an ETA on timing for those. We also had a discussion about, you know, adding funds to particular budgets and what was the best way to do that, whether adding it to the operating budget or as a warrant article.
Anything you'd like to add, Mr. Spring?
Yeah, that's right. That's the idea of professional services and
Some of the things that we've been talking about,
Right.
still, to me, they haven't been resolved yet. In terms of coming up with a number.
And then making the determination
Yeah,
as to
exactly.
whether it's a special.
Yeah, where to put it.
So what I would like to do again for for the people watching at home and for the people who are here and to for the sake of being as efficient as we can, I just would like to read the numbers, the budget numbers. The budget numbers will be reflected in our minutes. The budget numbers and the categories are all available for everyone's view. Is there anything else that we need to add to this other than just reading the numbers? And so, without any further ado, the review for the Selectmen's fiscal year 2020 operating budgets numbers 122, 129, 135, 145, 151, 155, 171, 176, 191, 192, 193, 95, 99, 201, 241, 291, 292, 294, 295, 299, 411, 422, 423, 424, 425, 428, 439, 450, 543, 602, 604, 691, 692, 710, 751, 759, 911, 914, 916, and 950. And I would accept a motion to approve those operating budgets as they have been presented.
So my issue here is, so like for instance, should we approve budget 914 when we know that the healthcare number is going to change? The question is from a process standpoint, and forgive me for not remembering. So from a process standpoint, can we do you vote these budgets and then re-vote budgets if you
Yes.
want to make changes? So
Yes.
it's not set in cement, but this
Correct.
allows the budgets to
be
get
submitted,
moved,
yeah.
right?
Yes, we have for several years adjusted the group health number when the West Suburban Health Group has actually voted the premium increase. But do it preliminarily now, the conservative number that will only get better, we hope.
So the only issue we have here is 122 and 155, whether or not the professional services numbers in those budgets are, include some of the strategic planning that we wanted to put in
Right.
place.
We don't have a firm number for it. So wouldn't we vote to excluding the items that are
Well,
still pending?
then they can't get moved on, that's the,
That's the problem.
They can be revised
Can
as
they
the
be-
group health one
Right,
can be
right.
also
You can make a motion
subsequently.
Subsequent
right.
Yeah,
to,
you can
So-
come back
right.
during the
So
process.
you should just communicate that to the warrant committee, that,
Mhm.
we're still, but in order to keep the process moving, I think,
Yeah, fine,
right,
okay.
right.
unfortunately, Erica husband was not able to get back in time for her to be here this evening.
Oh, she could have brought the
communicated-
So that's something you can pick up Wednesday.
Yeah, we can pick it up
Right.
Wednesday, and we can also move at any point in time between now and the 19th to add a specific amount to amend that.
Or even later. Group health doesn't typically get voted till February, so
February,
you
right.
revise it then, so.
It's just giving warrant the heads up,
Right.
that there's, these are our best estimates,
Okay.
At the
right,
moment.
at the moment.
So,
All right, so I second your motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Maureen, did I sound like an auctioneer at some point in time during reading that?
No.
Football quarterback.
Oh, thank you.
You gotta put in Omaha.
The next item on our agenda this evening is to vote to accept and expend Council on Aging Formula Grant fiscal year 2019. Mr. Ramsey, is there?
This is the annual formula grant from the state to the Council on Aging. The number's a little higher because of the math, but I certainly endorse the Council on Aging's recommendation.
Joanne, Camille, is there anything you'd like to add to this?
So by math, you mean the number of participants?
The
Oh,
per
this new
senior
math.
number, yeah, it's new math. It's an addition based on a per capita for senior number that the state said. It's higher than last year, so
Okay.
the math follows.
Okay.
So it's a capital, it's a capital.
Would accept a motion to approve as recommended.
So
The-
in a grant in the
In the
amount
grant,
of
in the amount of
$13,000.
$13,752.00.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Next item is a vote to expand a gift for the Council on Aging Fund. And that is in the amount of $3,300 from the COA gift fund. And this gift is to cover the printing and mailing of the Council on Aging grant. Rick, I hope you can get a shot of that, because this was something that came out,
All households.
all households received almost 2 months ago, right? Very, very well done. Extremely well done, and thanks to all of people who supported this, and I know this has been an effort that has required lots of time, lots of work, and very well received. So thank you all. Would accept a motion to approve the gift fund of $3,300.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
And Mr. Chairman, if I may take a moment just to acknowledge and thank Camille and Joanne for their statesmanship on this matter and getting the whole thing resolved so that it will carry us through the end of this fiscal year. Thank you very much.
Extremely, very well done.
And make
Thank you.
sure
Thank you,
the
Dan.
right amount gets put in your budget this year.
In the long run,
Yeah.
Yes,
we're counting on you.
thank you. It's very, very well done.
We should note, actually, that that was one of the key recommendations from the SOAR leadership group, that the communication really had to dramatically be improved. So that was, we definitely were
We're on the right track.
devoted to that one.
So have you seen any increase participation because of this?
Participation, yes.
Okay.
And comments and people saying, I've had people say, you know, we just need to throw it out there and look at it.
And now younger people are reading it and so forth, and we're trying to incorporate within the newsletter, not just COA news, but town news and keeping, you know, trying to integrate the town in a better fashion.
I think places like the ukulele group has expanded to 30 to 35 people.
Yeah.
All the exercise programs have just blossomed. There's not enough room. She keeps moving up to bigger and bigger places.
We just don't have room to accommodate a lot of the things, actually.
And because we don't have air conditioning, or some places don't, in the summertime, some of those programs have to be cut, which is unfortunate, because you lose people, say from Zumba or whatever they happen to be doing. So we need more space too, but that's coming up. That's
It sure is.
comments.
Your day trips seem nice, like these are good ideas. So do you get big attendance?
Maps that you can take.
I see some of them are sold out, like the BSO is sold out. Was the DeCordova Museum well attended?
Yes, whatever was not, but the one two that we're having, going to Harvard Museum is over, subscribed, and that's next, I think it's next week I'll be taking it.
Right.
And the Museum of Fine Arts, we'll be doing in February. And we hope to have a docent who's one of our members on the board. Well, she's an auxiliary member. She's just being trained as a docent. We hope we'll have her as our docent.
Oh,
So
that's
she's fantastic.
That's great. It's, I just wanted to say thank you also to the Markins, there was a number of families involved with the council's Thanksgiving
Yes.
luncheon, which is extremely well done. And there's a lot of people who just put a lot of time and effort and energy, volunteers that do such a great job.
And that's Anne Marie too, who leads that group. That's a new person that we have, who does all kinds of things. And she's
Anne Marie is tireless.
She is a blessing in disguise.
I was going to say that, a blessing.
She is. She's so wonderful.
We could have her, you know, if you could find the money to give us, so she could be like 2 or 3 times the amount to come, she would be still oversubscribed.
We saw her at the luncheon. I mean, she's just so organized. She knows what she's doing. And she and Nan work out so well together. And there's another person who's very, very good. It's great that we have them.
Well, thank you. Thank you for doing it. So we have the gift, and is there anything else that we need? Next item is to approve the December tax bill, the mailing insert, and the calendar dates. Have the dates changed?
Nope. These are the dates coming up. And this is a town clerk's initiative, Ms. DeShillo. She's requesting this to be put in, and Jerry's reviewed it as the treasurer, so it requires the selectmen's approval for it to go into the tax bill as a stuffer.
Sure.
So I was going to add,
It's a good idea.
yes, so
Right.
Jim Repetti, as you know, has been holding meetings on how to improve sort of the town meeting experience. He's held 2 meetings in November, and one of the points that the committee members made was to make more effort to communicate to town residents when things were going on, and tried to take every opportunity to raise awareness. And I think, I don't know if this is, one of the things that was suggested was we take opportunities where we're making mailings to residents to include sort of important upcoming town events. And I think there's going to be, I would hope that we could invite Jim to come in one of our kind of upcoming meetings to talk about it, because I don't want to steal his thunder. These guys who took the initiative here. And so trying to not only just get out the dates in the meetings, but also to take opportunities to explain to residents what these things are. because you and I know what open meeting is. There are plenty of residents who don't know what open meeting is, et cetera. Town caucus, what is it? So it's going to be an attempt to inform and engage, using multiple media to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Mr. Ramsey, do the dates need to be read of the annual town caucus, the warrants open hearing, town meeting, town election?
Your decision, Mr. Chairman?
I don't think it would hurt either. So, in the particular order in front of me, the important dates of upcoming, the annual town caucus will be held Monday, March 11th in the Great Hall of the Townhouse. At the caucus, the candidates are nominated for various openings on elected committees within the town government, for example,
At 7:30.
at 7:30 p.m. Exactly. The town warrant committee open hearing will be held Monday, March 18th, 7:30 p.m. in the Great Hall. Open hearing is an opportunity to be heard to hear about the town budgets as well as what articles are planned for discussion and voting on the annual town meeting. 2019 annual town meeting will be held in the Mudge Auditorium, Dover-Sherburne Regional High School, Monday, May 6th, 2019, beginning at 7 p.m. Come early, be available. The attendees get to act as the legislature of the town and vote to approve or disapprove all matters brought before the meeting. That's
So
the
it's
emphasis.
important.
So it's important. Is there anything either of you would like to add to that?
It's
Please,
really important.
please attend. The 2019 annual town election will be held in the Great Hall of the Townhouse of Dover, Monday, May 20th, 2019, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Those are the dates. And is there anything, the tax bill mailing insert, Dave, when does that go out?
With the tax bills,
I think the assessor said
Oh, that's right.
Thursday, right, after we approve.
After we approve.
yes. Typically, they go out right after Christmas, if everything's on time, so that they don't get an early Christmas present in the form of a tax bill.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
So, I
You
would
should
accept
be expecting it.
a motion
Just,
to approve those dates.
Not the dates, just approve the stuff.
Just the insert.
Yep.
Just the insert.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Updates. Mrs. Hunter. Update on the search for
So-
town.
So as you all know, the search for town administrator will not commence until 2019. Instead, we elected to bring in an interim town administrator. And this afternoon, the search committee had a meeting, and I gave them an update on the town administrator search and the interim town administrator search, which I have a habit of calling the assistant town administrator search, so I apologize for that, it's just slip of the tongue. I informed them that we'll be conducting interviews on December 1st and potentially December 8th, and we hope to make a decision regarding an interim town administrator after the meeting on the 8th. And, Mr. Ramsey is retiring on December 28th, right?
Stop smiling.
Right. And the interim town administrator will start full-time upon Mr. Ramsey's retirement. And so that's moving along well. That's what the Collins Center keeps telling me.
Very good. Carroll Community Center.
So on the Carroll Community Center project, I mentioned last time that we've split the 7-member team into 2 groups. Both groups have started work. The group looking at space needs assessments, I believe, have already interviewed or are continuing to interview town stakeholders at the building. The group that's looking at the costs for a full renovation of Carroll have completed researching most of the documents that exist relative to Carroll, with primary focus on the 2005, 2006 work and the 2009 letter from Mills that talked about renovation and the 2017 refreshment of that. This group has created a spreadsheet containing all, right now we think, all of the renovations that have been suggested to bring Carroll up, to fully renovate Carroll. We intend in the next week to vet the list of items with stakeholders, people who have, or organizations who have participated in this long, arduous journey, to make sure that we have in fact captured all of the suggested remediation, improvements, etc. So we have a really complete list. Once we vet that, and again, I'm hoping to have that completed in the next week or two, then the next step would be to take the costs and then engage with Don Mills to ask him to refresh the costs, because some of the costs are from 2009, others from 2007, and we all know that over 10 years the costs are going to go up. And once we get those things done, we really should have a very good picture of what the renovation, fully renovated Carroll would mean in terms of work and what it would mean in terms of costs. And we just received today, I just got a copy of the On-Site Insight capital needs assessment I haven't looked at, so that I can tick off that box. Once we get through, then the other team will continue to do the space needs analysis, try to get a really good handle on current usage, and then we'll use that information to think about when we go talk to other towns who have community centers, to see how our programs and usage compares with what they have, so we can create a pro forma, what a new facility. That's where we are.
Great, thank you. With regard to the rail trail, there's been no significant update since our last meeting. The Friends of the Rail Trail, Marco, are meeting, communicating with Town Council, with Stephen Anderson and his people. Stephen will be here next week to meet with us and hopefully... Tentatively, yeah, thank you, tentatively. Mrs. Hunter, anything else you'd like to add?
The Friends did reach out. They had some questions regarding the updated MOU, the updated cost estimates, so I need to get back to them and find out what the questions are.
So those are the major initiatives. Thank you very much. Thank you both very much. Major initiatives that we're working on. I will add that the assessors, the members of Warrant, and I have met twice with regards to free cash. The free cash conversation is one that we had been waiting, this last segment, we were waiting for the verification of our free cash position, Mr. Ramsey, which happened last week.
I don't believe it's been certified yet.
So that is the next step. The next meeting will take place after we receive the certification, and we can move forward with the free cash. The major initiatives are to segment the free cash conversation so it doesn't all happen at the end of the night at the 11th hour, and to have a formula and a strategy going in that everybody had an opportunity to really think through and discuss. So those are the updates. with regards to our next agenda item, the appointments and the Dover Conservation Commission, Mr. Ramsey?
They are recommending that Christy Royer Violin be appointed to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Janet Hartke Bowser.
Dr. Christy Royer Violet.
Thank you.
Yeah, how about that? There are no discussion, no objections, except a motion to approve Dr. Violin.
Second.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Very impressive.
So I did receive an inquiry, and I had sent you both an email from Amy Butte on open space regarding liaisons. And I believe that on that big spreadsheet, we typically do appoint a selectman as a liaison to open space.
Who was the?
It was Candace. Right. But I believe typically there was a selectman on here. I could be wrong.
I thought last year we decided that we would not have a selectman, and that last year we had made the motion to have an advisor, but not a liaison.
The board did away with the liaison thing last year. It's not part of the bylaw, it was just a
Okay.
practice for several years, which was discontinued last year.
Unless either of you have major objections, I would like to continue the way we did it last year, to have a report, to have an advisor, but not to have a dedicated liaison. Seeing where I was going to give you the job and you have
About the full six job.
And then if Mr. Springer rejected the job, I was going to give it to Mrs. Hunter, who would probably give it back to me.
So one question, one of the things, John, one of the things that we've been talking about is having people come here. And maybe what we should do is have people come here to tell us what's going on a periodic basis. And in that way cover, be appraised by the committees of important issues that they're dealing with, rather than have it, sort of added to our plate. I mean, it just seems to be the way.
Is there anything, Mr. Ramsey, structurally wrong with that? I mean, in terms of, from a procedural standpoint?
So I think the issue is communication. So clearly, open space. So open space believes that Candace is still there, there is still a position for a selectman on their committee. So I think there needs to be a conversation with the chairperson of open space. Maybe they forgot, just like I did, because, but that was the issue, because they notified, they sent an email just asking, don't you think we should replace Candace as the liaison since she's no longer on the Board of Selectmen?
Okay,
A reasonable
Request.
And I know we had talked about, we're spread very thin, and, being liaisons sometimes leads to confusion, but by the same token, we need to know, or we at least want there to be an avenue of communication
Yes.
between the board and the various committees.
Absolutely.
So how are we going to do that? Because, open space does work on important issues. So either, we had toyed with the idea that maybe we have some of these committees come in and give a 5-minute update of what they're working on or what's important to them.
Yeah.
Right.
So why don't we try it?
So would you like me to communicate that to Amy?
Well, I like John, but, he's
Okay.
going to reject that and point to me, and I'm not going to
Okay,
point to
so
you,
I-
so.
So I can
Since she communicated
communicate
with
back.
you.
7 months on the job, you're catching up, you are catching up.
Yeah. Would you do that, Robert?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. And there's really nothing to add. I am completely in favor of that.
I thought you liked this.
So thank you both.
All right.
All right? There's nothing that we need to approve or mention?
No, it's just-
No other appointments?
No, and I would like to thank Mr. Ramsey. I think we straightened out the historical committee or society. Society's issue, right. And I think it was just, I'm not sure their members actually talked to one another, maybe, and
So how does it work? So who gets to make the choice and spend the money? Because if this is for the-
right, and I
The
think,
Carroll House,
that
it's the
was,
society that oversees that.
Are we talking about the termites?
Yeah.
right.
Powder post beetle.
And they,
Even worse.
Different than termites.
And I think in support of them, they did not want to spend money until they were absolutely certain
How it worked.
that, how it worked. So they were very apprehensive about, hiring somebody until they were sure that the money had been approved. So I thought that was a really good sign.
Very good, yes.
So I think that's all set.
It
and
is.
So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Ramsey. So the next item of business is the special licenses, liquor licenses for the open dates. Seeing there are only a handful, I think I would be remiss without reading it. Why don't I, yeah, if we could let me do that. The first one I'm excited to read, actually, just looking at this briefly. I love it when Harvard University pays Boston College for something. So Harvard University Center paying Boston College for the November 23rd retroactively at the Connors Center. December 4th, private party, Mass Horticultural at Elm Bank. December 7th, Boston College, Connors Center, holiday luncheon. December 8th, Dover Sherman's 40th class reunion, Connors Center. December 10th, Realty Executives Holiday Party. Did we get invited to that?
John,
No.
I have not received
Connors
an
Center.
invitation.
December 11th, Boston College Theology Department at the Connors Center, holiday celebration.
I need to get an invitation to that.
Yes, you do. January 6th, Boston College, the Favored Jesuit Community Retreat and Dinner. January 7th, Boston College Favored Jesuit Community Retreat and Dinner. January 9th, Boston College Morrissey College Staff Retreat and Reception. And February 12th, the Nonanic Garden Club membership meeting at the Dover Library. And there's one more that we should add that we approved last meeting that happens on Saturday, and that's at the Community Cycling Holiday Party, which is happening on Saturday, which we did get invited to. Imagine that.
Wow. You must know somebody, Mr.
We do
Chairman.
know somebody. So we'll accept a motion to approve the special liquor licenses.
So
Second.
moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. The open session meeting minutes of October 25th, which Mrs. DeShillo has provided for us, which I thought were impeccable. Thank you very much. Anything that we would like
You're
to
welcome.
add?
It's good.
They look good.
Ready to rock.
Accept a motion to approve the minutes of October 25th.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any comments from the citizens this evening? Joanne, Camille? Thank you both. Thank you for your comments regarding the chief's presentation about the traffic and walking, and it's an ongoing issue.
If you walk at 5 a.m., there's no cars. That's when I walk.
And you're in the woods too.
Yeah.
right?
Coyotes are out there.
Right.
But just a quick note, I was in Needham for a while today, and I used to be in Needham almost every day, and I can't tell you the difference in their traffic. Where I had a meeting, I had to park a mile away to get, it's incredible. It just feels like, I think we need to take all the cars away from kids, and they have lotteries to find out which kids get to park actually at the school.
You know, and that definitely compounds the traffic because kids are driving to school rather than taking the bus. And you.
Parents driving
Oh,
kids to
kids,
school.
yeah, parents driving the kids to
Taking the
school.
bus. Well, I started the meeting by wishing everyone a belated happy Thanksgiving, and it is the season for holiday parties, holiday gatherings. It's Hanukkah begins tomorrow, correct?
December 1st.
December 1st.
That is, yeah, it's Saturday.
Saturday. So, in the season of celebration, wish everybody happy and safe travels and a great season of celebrating, and to remind everybody that our town administrator is going to be with us for 2 more meetings, and then voyaging into retirement. So, without any other conversation, I'd like to accept a motion to adjourn the meeting. And Rick, thank you once again for a flawless meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Adjourn.